Good morning, folks. Welcome to the Rangers Reviews morning briefing for Tuesday, the 24th of August, with me, Joshua Barry, and Derek Clark. Today, we're bringing you up to date with all the latest Rangers news this Tuesday morning, following on from the win in the Highlands on Sunday and looking ahead to what is a pretty big week in the club season, with a trip to Armenia and then an Old Firm at Ibrox on Sunday. Derek, how are you feeling looking back on Sunday now? And as I say, it's a big week for the club, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we touched on it yesterday. I mean, that's 3 wins on the bounce. It wasn't without its faults on Sunday, of course, which we'll touch on. But slowly but surely, if they get that winning momentum going heading into this week's huge, of course. 2 massive games. I would argue that Thursday is a lot more important than Sunday. But you want to win the both of them, don't you? So, yeah, just looking forward to it.
We'll start with the defence, Derek. Rangers' defence was kind of the hallmark of the season last season. You can see the 13 goals in the league, which was a record-breaking total. Still had some shaky defensive performances in Europe, but all in all, it was really hard to break down. And you know, there's the arguments that perhaps that last season in the league certainly was so amazing because these things don't come along often. It's almost a once in a lifetime kind of run of form. That's why it hasn't happened in so long. But to then go to the start of a season where we've conceded, I think it's 7 goals in 7 games. It could be one off there, but just from doing the quick maths in my head, and you looked at Ross County, who in their previous 2 games haven't created much and managed to create quite a lot against Rangers. I mean, what was your take watching on Sunday in terms of how our defence looked and has looked the last few games?
In the main, it's fine, but there's just a few occasions where you start to worry. I know Balogun and Bassey, the combination between those two looked a bit shaky at times. It leaves you, I'm not too sure if Balogun's going to get the nod on Thursday or on Sunday. I'd imagine Hollander would come in for 1, if not 2 of the games. But yeah, there's a little iffy points there in the defensive structure. I think we touched on it a little bit with regards to we're not cutting out the attacking point at source, and we're struggling with regards to the press and pushing out, and that's leaving the defenders exposed and what have you. We've seen that a little bit on Sunday. It's not as watertight as last season, there's no doubt about it. But like you say, I think that's a one-off. It'd be unfair to think that the team can go through an entire season conceding 13 goals in the league campaign again. It was quite incredible, really. But they just need to iron out these little sort of mistakes, would you say, or concentration issues that are giving the opposition opportunities in behind. We've seen the first goal was sort of prime example of that. The penalty, I guess, a little bit. Bassey's a little bit unlucky with regards to giving away the penalty on that occasion. But the Blair Spittle opportunity was one, but alarm bells were ringing as well. So these are little things that I'm sure when Steven Gerrard says they need to fine tune some issues, and imagine that defensively that'll be something they'll be working on this week.
Yeah, and I think I chose Joe Aribo as my man of the match on Sunday, but I think he was a little bit suspect for both goals conceded equally, and I think that's he's an attacking midfielder playing in a midfield 3. But if you look at the first goal, he turns his back for the cross coming in, then it's 2-on-2 in the box. Ross County are quicker to both balls, which is, I guess, a disappointing thing from a Rangers point of view. But as a defender, I'd imagine you'd want to be better protected in terms of, as you say, stopping at source. And then for the penalty as well, we've got a detailed breakdown on the site of how Ross County managed to cause Rangers such issues defensively. For the penalty, Charles Cook has the ball. And then the way that Rangers defend, we know that the 3 stay high. The 3 attackers stay high. They're scarcely going to track back or kind of supplement the midfield. And in doing that, that means sometimes that Rangers might be slightly outnumbered. So what they need to then not do is double up on players, which is what happened. You see Aribo go out with Tavernier and both are beaten. And similar to the Malmo second goal, was it the second goal? Yeah, the second goal at home when Aribo goes out to try and snuff out the danger. I think his intention's right, but it's just that defensive positioning is probably not that as accustomed with as like a Ryan Jack would in that position. But Ryan Jack isn't going to curl in a left foot shot from 18 yards that often either. So then once that happens, Davis has to come out, try and stop it at source. The ball gets through. So I think it is fine tuning, and I think the thing is, because our tactical system is so finely tuned to allow attacking opportunities, which is why the third goal comes, because Kent stays high, and even the fourth goal as well comes from attackers staying in high positions, and it was very clinical. That can only happen if the defence do their job to the kind of supreme level and don't allow and don't lose one-on-one battles. Even Tavernier kind of was beaten quite easily by Charles Cook, I thought, for him to get the initial shot off, which led to Spittle getting the shot off that was blocked by Bassey's hand. So definitely things to fine-tune. In terms of how that happens there, Gerrard spoke after the match as well about the squad starting to look healthier, body starting to come back. Has been a very disrupted pre-season. I think a lot of clubs will have experienced that, but I think there's been plenty of isolation, family, injury issues, as Gerrard has alluded to in recent interviews. And now you'd hope, especially with the international break, to maybe start to work with some players again that perhaps didn't have as much time with the coaching staff in pre-season. You'd hope to see the kind of consistency maybe return to the team now that all the bodies are going to be there and there's not going to be anyone missing from the squad.
Yeah, Gerrard said that, didn't he? And it's clear that the pre-season preparation hasn't been as good as you would have liked it to be. I think last season the difference was he had all summer to work with the squad. Of course, there was no games. We had the COVID shutdown, so they had months pretty much to prepare for the season ahead and plenty of time on the training ground. This summer's been a whole lot different, of course, like you said. Missing Alfredo Morelos for the first Malmo game was a huge thing, of course, coming back late from them. Well, not coming back late, because coming back from the Copa America, of course, that was going on. So the Euros were going on. Glenn Kamara and Phil Hollander were involved. Bona Barisic, it's an interesting one with regards to him. Told that he just wasn't selected in the squad at the weekend, so that's an interesting one if he'll come back in. But it has affected the side. It has been a stuttering start, there's no doubt about it. But like I say, you can only beat who's in front of you. That's 3 wins now in a row. If they can finish the week, if they can head into Sunday evening 5 from 5, then all things will be rosy again in the Garden. So yeah, like I said at the top of the show, Josh, it's a big week for the football club, of course, and looking even further ahead to that Celtic game. I mean, the confidence is high with regards to them, but great to get a win there. It sort of it turns the tide it somewhat as in terms of the mood and what have you as well. So yeah, massive week.
Yeah, good morning to Marjorie, Alan and Hugh, all in the comments. Hugh saying 2 massive games coming up before the international break, and I'm confident we'll win both. I mean, as you touch on, Derek, if you, it's so funny because it is just 2. I said after the Malmo games, like 3 games from a catastrophe, and that's natural because the pressure is so intense at Rangers. But if you go and get into the Europa League group stage, it's not the Champions League, but we can't hit every height in Europe, and then go and win the first Old Firm game of the season. And I think most supporters would be confident if Rangers hit the level they're capable of, because of how rounded the team is, because of our ability to maybe adapt in game, and because Celtic have looked very good going forward, but perhaps haven't convinced as much at the back, they would be quite confident of winning. If we're sitting here next Monday or Tuesday, it'll be the international break, speaking about those 2 games, the mood completely flips. And I think that's the thing where the fragility doesn't seem to be there from 2020 in terms of the response mid-game at Alish Kurt from the team, where it can't get any worse than a game you're expected to win 5-0 after losing 3 games in a row, and then you go down to 10 men and the atmosphere becomes a bit restless. For the team to respond there, and then our performance against Ross County that wasn't at their best, but it still had a lot of good attacking elements, and it still had I guess they bounced back a few times when, again, if nerves are there, perhaps that response is to hold on instead of go for more. So again, you think ahead to Sunday night, if there's 2 wins, and it'll be a great atmosphere among supporters and players alike, you'd imagine. Yeah,
definitely. It's amazing what a couple of results can do for you. The game on Thursday is going to be big. Of course, that'll dictate I guess what side Steven Gerrard puts out on Sunday, and you'll be hoping that he has players available. No, we're going to touch on Kemar Roofe in a little bit. He won't be. He'll be without him, of course, serving his final game. But Glenn Kamara's back, and I think he was huge. Even on you see him on Sunday. I mean, such a difference he makes in that midfield. You just feel a lot more comfortable and confident when he's orchestrating things alongside Stephen Davis in that engine room. So I think once you get that, the players haven't been firing on all cylinders. I mentioned Borna Barisic before. It'll be interesting to see if what's going on with him at the moment. We know he had that sort of injury knock at the Euros, and it only resulted in him coming on against Scotland for a sort of cameo, which was disappointing not to see him feature more. But I don't know if he's maybe carried that knock on into the season, if it's a mental issue. But he's a player that Rangers will really be hoping that they can recapture the form that we've seen him last season, because he's such an asset. Of course, Calvin Bassey, by all accounts, has done really well since coming in. Not so much at Dingwall, but I still felt he put in a decent performance. Remember, he's still learning the game. This is a young lad. It's just being thrust in his second season, of course. Played a handful of times last season, but still learning the game. And they will have times when he's maybe a little bit inconsistent, but that's what you get with young players. But if Gerrard's got options, that's all you can ask for. If he's got more options at his disposal, even the likes of Scott Wright missing on Sunday, you'll be hoping he comes back and plays a part, because he was looking really good, especially at Alex Kerr game when Steven Gerrard said he was superhuman. So I'd imagine if he can shrug off that knock, he'll feature in the next two games as well. So it's all about getting those players back and fighting for places again.
We've got a comment here, a couple of comments and questions I'll put to you, Derek, and then I'll take them on myself. Would you rotate the squad for Thursday, given the expected heat in Sunday's match? Tav, Alfie, Davis, it's a tough one. Got my thoughts on that. I don't know what yours are. And also, Ross Campbell, does Sakala have a chance for the weekend? I don't know if he does. I think it would suit him if it was a two-man partnership with space in behind. I completely agree with Ross Campbell's point there. Whether he's ready or not, I don't know. But we'll touch on that first point, Derek. How do you think Thursday's a more important game?
Oh yeah,
I think Thursday is, but I think that you can win that game more with the squad. And what I mean by that is, if you've got Glenn Kamara back in there, you can maybe play him. You can maybe rest Stephen Davis. Patterson is more than good enough to come in and play in place of Tavernier. Morelos is a tricky one, because I do think in these types of games he's so good, and Kemar Roofe's still suspended. So I don't know about Morelos, but then also I know Cedric Itten hasn't hit the ground running again this season, but you've got to give him games at some point if he's in the squad. It's whether Gerrard trusts his squad to win the game or whether he wants his first 11 to. I mean, what's your thoughts on the selection issues, Derek?
Yeah, see if the game was 3-0 or 4-0, I'd understand that reasoning, but there's absolutely no chance he'll bench James Tavernier or Stephen Davis. He'll need them, and he'll try and win the game, get it put to bed. I think it need to be a bit patient on Thursday. I don't think the tie is over by any stretch of the imagination. I think Alex Kerr are going to have to come out. I'm expecting a lot more from them. I know that they're a poor side in relation to Rangers, but they've got nothing to lose. You've got that heat to contend with, the travelling. You can't take them for granted. So I think Steven Gerrard will field a really strong 11. I know he said that before the Dunfermline game and made 8 changes, but I think the only change we'll be seeing, I think the team will be pretty much the same as we've seen at Dingwall, more or less. I don't think there'll be 2 alterations to that necessarily. Maybe Scott Wright might come back in if he's fit enough, but I don't think there'll be too many changes, and I think it's just a case that let's get Alex Kerr out of the way, then deal with Celtic. I think the Celtic game takes care of itself. I think again you could squad rotate for that game in a way which sounds a bit weird for the Celtic game, but Rangers have they've got so much strength and depth. I've heard before that people are maybe unsure about Lundstrom and a few others not hitting the heights, but at the end of the day, these are good players, and you should be able to call upon them for these big games. So I think he'll be playing the strongest 11 he can on Thursday night. But like you, I think if he played the likes of Patterson, even if you put in young Stephen Kelly, I reckon he would do a good job on Thursday night. But I just think he's going to go with tried and tested.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting because I'm not sure, and I think Gerrard's probably still finding his best 11 with new additions and such a wealth of options. But we shall see. Finally, Derek, the player I'm most excited to play for this season, and play. I'm not going to play up front with Kemar Roofe this season as much as my height could bring him into play. Kemar Roofe came off the bench. I thought at the game on. But the one thing I've loved, one of the many things I've loved from supporters being back, is the Roofe shout every time Roofe appears, whether that be from the tunnel, the bench, or is on the pitch. It's obvious that the fans absolutely love him, and when he gets up to speed this season, I just think I think he's probably our most dangerous player on the pitch because of his XG per 90. He's just so productive in front of goal, so good in terms of build up. And on Sunday, I think he could have a big game. You remember him against Celtic just before the season ended last time. He'll be a huge player for us this season if he can stay fit throughout the duration of it, won't he, Derek?
No, absolutely. Before that, I just remembered I never mentioned the Sakala point that was it that made that? Ross made that. I think the manager said that they've maybe been guilty of rushing him too soon. So I don't think we'll see him this week. I think it maybe a bit of time just to make sure he's up to speed again. You don't want him breaking down and missing a few games. But with regards to Roofe, yes, he's another one that we've not really seen consistently this season. He's a cracking player. When he's on form, you can see he's a class above. I thought he would maybe get on earlier in Dingwall against Ross County. I was a bit surprised at that, to be honest. But maybe that's with one eye on Sunday, perhaps. But I thought I would maybe see him a bit more. Of course, he's missing for Thursday night, so Gerrard may have had an eye on that. Saying, I'm not too sure. I can't get inside the manager's brain, but I think everyone's excited to see Kemar Roofe in a Rangers jersey on a consistent basis this season. Of course, when he joined last season, he came after pre-season. He came late, and he had injury issues, of course. But we've seen how good he can be with crucial goals at crucial times. We all remember Liège, and I mean the 2 goals against Celtic at the tail end of last season were sublime as well. He's a big game player. I'd imagine if he's fit and ready, you'd pitch him in from the start against Celtic on Sunday. There's no question about it. But it's just that it's a big question, isn't it? Is he 100% fit to feature? I would put him alongside Morelos, like I said at that Ibrox, the 4-1 game. I think we'll be working together up top with Ryan Kent, of course, who you'd imagine will put that. But he always seems to up his game. Even I know he's had a lot of sticky period, but he done okay against Ross County, and the Celtic games he always comes alive, doesn't he? So I'd certainly have no qualms about playing him also.
We shall see. I'd love to see Kent, Morelos and Roofe up front on Sunday. I think that's probably what Gerrard would choose, and hopefully they're all fit enough to do so. That'll do us for today, folks. Thanks for all your comments. Sorry if we didn't get around to all of them. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 9:30 to speak through some more Alish Kurt's preview ahead of this big week. Remember, you can subscribe to the Rangers Review for lots of top quality content for just $2.99 a month over on the site. Today we've got a detailed tactical breakdown of how Ross County managed to create chances against Rangers and Dingwall on Sunday, and there's plenty more to come this week. So you can keep up to date with us on all our socials, and we'll be back tomorrow morning at 9:30 for your morning briefing. Have a great day. Cheers.